Hello, mortals. So, you may be wondering why I have a picture of Zagreus instead of, issei, because, this is what if Issei was the son of Big Red. Alright. So, Issei will look like Zagreus, because, one, Zagreus is a pretty dope nigga, and also it's pretty respectable. Reason why. He's gonna be the Dragon of Death. And he's about to turn his own father into a balance breaker. But that's besides the point. So, we go to the dimensional gap where Ophis, or Ophis, and Big Red are fighting. Over something. As Big Red yells, "You insolent whore. Why in the absolute fuck would I want to be with you?" And she says, "Because I want to kill the rest of the factions and you're the only strong enough mate." Which, yes, I'm going with this, and this is going to be weird the entire time that I'm saying this. It's going to be annoying. For me, not for you. You guys are going to appreciate the story. But, anywho, he just looks at her, and he just says, "Good point, but why do you want to kill the rest of the three factions?" And she says, "Because they killed my brother," which in this case, Drake, is her brother. Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, I'm throwing freaking DXD logic out the window here. But that's besides the point. So, he says, "Fine, on one condition. I get to be turned into a balance breaker." And she says, "Why would you want to be turned into a balance breaker?" "Because I want to experience life outside of the infinite void. Only reason why I don't do it myself is because I'm far too lazy." And she says, "Fine. He can just turn you into a balance breaker when he feels like it." And so, they start going at it like it's December 1st. But that's besides the point. Which are my boys? Did you survive? Let me know in the comments. And leave a like on the video if you would. But, anywho. So, Deku. Or not Deku. Issei. So, when Issei is born, he's born as a silverish, metallic dragon with glowing purple. Well, his right eye glowing pure purple, and his left eye burning a pure red. When Deku was born, or Issei, is born, he immediately gets all of the knowledge of death rushed into his brain. Reason why? He is the Dragon of Death. And so, he immediately looks at Ophis, only being a couple minutes old, which I'm going to say that time flows differently in the dimensional gap. but it won't affect anybody on the outside. It's like 100 years, and the dimensional gap is only like 25 seconds in the real world. So, as soon as he was born, he lunges at Great Red. Because he feels like, so he's the strongest one. And so he rushed at his own father, and he touched, because Big Red was in his human form, shall we say. Well, human-looking form. You get what I mean. And so, issei put a hand on his father's chest, and he knows how to turn somebody into a balance breaker. So he says, transfiguration, balance breaker. As he turns Big Red, his father, into a balance breaker. And Big Red, his balance breaker is in the form of these little bands around issei's arms. And they line his body as well. And so, this is what his balance breaker will look like. And issei, he also is a unique type of dragon, so he also has his own balance breaker that is a part of his being and his being alone. Which, yes, this doesn't happen in High School DxD, but again, my what if, my story. So he looks at Ophis and he says, so I presume you're my mother. Train me so that I can become strong. And Big Red just speaks from the glowing bands, and he's just like, good job, kid. You already knew what I wanted to do. I'm happy that I implanted those dreams in your head. As issei on the outside world, he just smiles and he says, whatever, father. And issei, he transforms into his dragon form, which is about only like 20 feet big. Because he's like, 5 at this point. Yeah, time flex. But yeah, so a time skip. Yeah. 6 years, so he's 11 now. So when he's 11, he already looked like this. This nigga tall. Also, give me a sec. I gotta go check my wall. Okay. Alright, right here. Alright, he's 5'7". At the age of 11. Yes, that's how tall I was back then. But, anywho. Oh yeah, and by the way, my birthday was on November 22nd. Sorry that I didn't post a birthday video for you guys. Although I will post it in like 2 days. Give me a bit of leeway. I gave myself blue ball. Yeah. Look it up. It's painful. But anywho, so Deku Issei, he goes to the gate, which is the area that decides whether you go to heaven or you go to hell, or you get reincarnated. Reincarnation is only for the people that deserve a do-over. So either people that were murdered or lived far too much of a peaceful life, and those who don't want to go to heaven. So people that are good enough to go to heaven but choose not to can get reincarnated. So he goes to the gate, which the person at the gate was let's think here. Let's think of a random girl from high school DxD. Like, just, I don't know. I'm sorry that I'm breathing in my fucking phone, but let's think about this. You know what? Let's just say Michael. Yeah, Michael's there. Seeing as he's taking over the position of God. So, Issei. Because that's his name, other than the Dragon of Death, which hardly anybody will call him by that. But, anywho, he appears in a burst of shadowy flame. Just like this. He popped up to the party like this. And he said, "Hello, Michael." And Michael was just like, "Who is you?" And like, he gave off just like, 20th of his power. And Michael was just sitting there like, "Shiver me timbers, my nigga. Like, you scary." And Issei was sitting there just like, And he says, "I'm here to take your job. I'll do this, you go focus on whatever." And Michael, he says, "Who are you?" And Issei smirks like this while a butterfly lands on his hand, and he says, "I'm the son of Great Red and Ophis, the son of the Ouroboros dragon and infinite dream dragon. I am the Dragon of Death." And Issei, confusion. What is this? Oh, Zenny. Anywho. So, Issei, he says, "So, I'll be taking your position now. You go do whatever things you can do to get God back to his feet." In this one, I'm going to say that God was just in like a deep state of slumber that he induced upon himself. Because anime logic. It's amazing, isn't it? But anywho. So, issei, after a couple of minutes, bodies start rushing in. Like dead people. So, he starts judging them. Heaven, hell. You don't want to go to heaven? Okay, reincarnation. And it's just a constant cycle of this. However, time skip 2 years. Issei is 13. He's gotten pretty bored of it, so he hires a demogorgon, one of the ones from heaven, Dusa. Yeah, this is for those of you that played Hades. But he's like, I want you to work and do my job for me. I'm going to go down to Earth. Things seem pretty fun down there. And he explains what she has to do, and she's like, okay. And she's like stuttering the entire time, because, ladies, if you saw a dude that looked like this, you get wet, don't even. Me sitting over here just like laughing, even though I have no. And she's like, but who are you? And he says, I'm the dragon of death. But anywho, take care of that spot until I come back. I'll visit on you every couple of years. Or I'll visit you every couple of years. Dusa. As he left off to the human world, and he just hid his presence. For a while, and he goes to Academy, and he always just walks in with the bands on his arms, his t-shirt, a hoodie with a blazer over it. He still has his little shin guards and stuff down there, and his baggy pants. But he also has like a pair of I'll continue to tell the what if. That's besides the point. But anywho. You see my stupidity? But anyway. So he is so he's going to Academy, and Academy starts at like 5th grade and goes all the way up to high school. And so sorry, but yeah. Like, I should just say drawing. so many girl shoes, but yes, this works. So yeah, so he goes to Go Academy, and he's not a pervert in this one. Well, not much of one. He does have a day on his calendar marked Tigobity Appreciation Day. I questions people. Yeah, he got a pair of these Balenciagas. And they fully black. And they go completely under the shin guards. Like the little back part. Anyway, sorry that dragged that on for so long. But anyway, so he meets Matsuda and Motohama, and he gets along with them, and he joins them in their adventures. I mean, he doesn't do any of the peeking, but he's just along for the ride. And so we cut to one day when they're all in their second year, and and Akeno and Rios, all of them, yeah, they're also in second year as well. And now at this point, Issei is 6'7". Let's go with that. But anywho, so Matsuda and Motohama and Issei, they're all checking out the Kendo girl's locker. Well, they're all hiding in one. Issei has one to himself. And I'm gonna say Konoko's in this club too. And Issei just so happens to accidentally be hiding it in her locker. Which he does have Matsuda's perfect eyesight, you feel me? Perfect accuracy eyesight. But anywho, so she's walking up to her locker, and Tigobity's exposed. He can see them. He's like, she's cute. Just in his head, he's like, and he's blushing, and he doesn't know what this is. He's just like, what is this? And I rushed too far ahead. I skipped a whole page. Anywho, let's go back 2 years. So Issei, he goes on a killing spree. So he sees this girl start murdering a bunch of men, because apparently that's what she likes to do. And she has one of the holy Excaliburs. And Great Red, he's been talking to Issei a lot. He's always talked to Issei. And Issei's just like, I might not ever need you, right, Dad? He says, yeah. But at least I'm able to see my son, everything that he's doing. But, Anywho. Oh yeah, by the way, I do have an 800 sub special. I'm working on it. It's fun. It's probably fun to be like 4 hours long. Like I'm gonna be for real with y'all. Because I actually wrote a script for this one. Well, not this one, but you get what I mean. So, and that'll be coming out tomorrow. So, Deku, no, issei, he walks up behind her, and she says, "Oh, another one." As she starts like choking on her own blood, as issei just puts up his hand and he says, "Death's destruction." As her body just boom, explodes into a million little pieces. Issei is covered in blood. And issei, he goes on a killing spree of just anyone, because he begins to love the feeling of killing people within that one night. So he gets it all out. And by that I mean he killed a lot of Yakuza. So we go to a church back then with where Kiba was. And issei, he jumps down through like the top of the church, because I'm going to say like the church had like dealings with the Yakuza, and so issei started killing every single exorcist there. And once he found the room with the children, he was like, it's just kids. And he like moved on to the next room, and he just started just stabbing people and just driving his hand straight through people like it was a freaking javelin. And he started ripping off people's heads, disemboweling them, ripping out people's hearts, shoving it down their throat. Pause, not like that. Chill, get your mind out of the gutter. Sure, it's only December 2nd, but chill. Backflip, kicked the dude's head off. Axe kicked this dude's shoulder and sent it crashing into his own spine. Cut this dude in half with his bare hands. Smacked another dude so hard that his body completely twisted around like a Twizzler. And then on top of that, one of the female exorcists, she tried to rape one of the kids. And issei, yeah, he wasn't having that. And so he just said, "You deserve the worst death I can give someone. Void of death." And what void of death is, it constantly makes someone experience every kind of death. So once a person experiences one type of death, they move on to the next. And even if they've already had the same death once, they're just constantly dying. That's why it's called the void of death. Because it's his domain, and all it gives. Is that? Give me a second. But anywho, so issei, he is chill, y'all. I'm just pouring out a bottle of water. Issei, after he finally gets all his feelings of murder out, he goes back to the room with the kids, and he says, well, do as you all wish. In Kiba, just for plot convenience, he'll only remember the, just like the feeling of Issei's energy, and that's about it. That's all. That's it. That's all he's remembering about Issei. And Issei, when he's at school, he suppresses all of his energy, so nobody can feel it. So yeah. But anywho, one day, Akeno, who shares every single class with Issei, goes up to him and she says, well, essentially, she confesses to him. So, she walks up to Issei. And she says, would you please be my and she's like stuttering, and this is something like nobody's ever seen Akeno do. This is like the end of class, and like everybody's talking to each other, and like everybody hears this and they all stop dead in their tracks. And Matsuda, he knew that Deku was probably gonna get a girlfriend, and so he always appreciated Deku's Issei's company. Sorry. Y'all make me make so many Deku videos. Not y'all, words. I'm sorry. But anyway, so. Wrong one. So she confesses to him, and Issei, he says, sure, Akeno, I'll go out with you. And she is ecstatic. Like, she's super happy. And she yells, thank you, he says, son. And as she's yelling, Deku just walks up. Or Issei, he walks up behind her and he says, oh yeah, by the way. Like, and he's whispering this to her too. He says, you should probably do a better job concealing your energy as a demon, you know. And she stops dead in her tracks, and she's like, he says, "Alright, I'll see you after school." And she's wondering, like, what he meant. He said, "Yeah, meet me after school. On the roof." And she was like, "Okay." And so, a little while later, she went to the roof and saw Issei. And he said, "Alright, I know you're wondering how I know you're a demon. Or, sorry, a devil. And that's because I'm a dragon." And she's like, "But how? I thought dragons couldn't have human forms." He says, "If you're strong enough, you can." Tani can't do it because he's weak. And she says, "Wait, you're calling the Tani weak?" He says, "Well, yeah. Compared to me, my father, or my mother, he's weak." And she says, "Who's your father and mother?" As the red bands on Issei's arms begin to speak up, they say, "I am Great Red, the Dream Dragon." And he says, "And my mom is Ophis, the Ouroboros dragon. And I, myself, am the Dragon of Death." And she says, "Are you gonna kill me?" As she, like, gets in a defensive stance. He says, "Nah, I actually meant it. I accept your love." And she's like, she was just perplexed at what this man had said. She has an appalled face, and he walks up to her and kisses her on the cheek, and he's like, "I love that face. It's amazing." And Issei, he began to walk away. But she stopped him and said, "So, do you really mean it, or are you just lying so you can kill my master?" He says, "Oh, Rias? Nah, I don't want to kill her. I mean, I have no reason to." And she says, "How did you know it was Rias?" And he says, "I'm the son of the Dragon of Dreams. I know everybody's thoughts, everything about anyone. Like you, Akeno. You're half fallen angel. But you disgraced that side because of what happened to your mom. Which to that I say, it's not your fault nor Barkeel's. You should probably talk to that old man sometime. I've never met him in my life, but from what I observed, he always visits your mother's grave." When he can, that is. Most of the time he's out doing work for his Azazel. He then says, so, where do you want to go for our first date? And she says, how about we go to the arcade? And he looks at her and he says, I expected a more girly answer, but that's better too. He said, alright, you want to fly or you want to walk? As he pulled out his 4 dragon wings, which all were tattered and looked like this. And he said, so, which one? Should we walk like a couple or fly like a couple? You choose. But anywho, Deku, he goes ahead and he picks her up because she wasn't talking, because she was just appalled at how his wings were. And he says, flying it is. And she says, huh? What? Wait. But issei, he already carried her up to the sky. He says, see, it's beautiful up here. But anywho, so he's carrying her, and they land over in an alleyway close to the arcade. And he says, all right, let's get to walking. She's just blushing the entire time. And she says, you're a pervert, you know. Oh wait, I didn't finish the Konoko scene. Sorry, y'all. So let's put that on pause real quick. But anywho, Konoko, she reaches for the locker, and issei, he's just realizing now that this is her locker. So Matsuna and Motohama just got figured out. And the girl said, hey, wait. Issei's known to hang out with them too, right? And they go, yeah. Why? And she says, what if he's in here too? And so, Konako, she can sense that he says in the locker. And he's just sitting there, just like, Alright, let's go. As he says, shroud of darkness within his head, making him invisible. And he turns into like thin air. And so he just travels out of the room, and all the girls say, hey, I felt a cold shiver. And like Akeno, she opens the closet, or well, like, her locker, and she says, could have sworn that I felt somebody in here. And Issei, he's just internally just like, I dodged that bullet. And Great Red, he was just inside the sacred gear laughing. And he said, you know, you're pretty annoying, Dad. And he said, whatever. You nearly got caught by some girls. He says, yeah, whatever. And so now we go back to the current. So Issei and Akeno, they hang out at the arcade. They have fun. Issei's acting like a boyfriend material, and Akeno's acting like girlfriend material. Sorry, she's already waifu material. What do you expect? And so Ophis, she's beginning to miss her sweet baby boy. And so she comes out of the dimensional gap and into the human world. And so she tries to find him, and she senses his presence, and she's like, aha. And like she like flies over to where he is, but like lands in an alleyway and goes into the arcade. And she comes in at the right time to see him kiss Akeno on the lips and say, I love you. And Akeno just blushing madly. And Ophis, she just comes up behind him and she says, way to go, son. And he hears that voice and he's just like, he says, hello, Mom. And she's like, I see you already found a mate, huh? He's like, Mother, this is not my mate, this is my girlfriend. But I intend to make her my mate. Don't worry. As he like chuckles a little bit, and Akeno, she's just blushing completely. And she says, decent. The only thing I don't like is that she's part demon. Or devil. He says, oh well, too bad. You're gonna put up with it. And she says, what you say to me, boy? He says, nothing, Mother. And she says, that's what I thought. As she like thwacks him besides the head. Like, she had to, like, jump up and smack him on the head because he's too tall for her to hit. Ophis is only, like, 4'7" in this one. She's short, but busty. And so, he's just sitting here. He's just like... And so, Akeno, she introduces herself. And Issei says, anywho, I plan on making her mine, even though she already is. And Akeno, she just starts blushing even more. Like, she's as red as a tomato at this point. And so, Ophis, she laughs, and she says, alright, well, I just wanted to check in on Issei. As we now time skip to the next day at school. Issei, he's walking in with Akeno, and Akeno just says, you know, you should really meet the other members of Rias's Barrage. I want to see if you can join. He's just like, I doubt it, but let's see. It'll be entertaining to watch. And so, Issei, after school ends, he meets up with Akeno and she takes him to the club lounge. Well, the old school building that the club is using as their base of operations. But, Ria, she's shocked to, like, see him. He just says, what up? And she didn't tell Rias that this was her boyfriend. She said, I got a boyfriend. And that's all the context she gave Rias. And she was like, she's dating the hottest dude in school. I'm jealous. And like Konako, she was just like, pervert. He's just like, huh? Oh yeah, sorry about that, Miss Tojo. And she says, whatever. And Akeno says, what's she talking about? And he says, oh, one day Motohama and Matsuda said, hey, let's spy in the girls' locker rooms. I said, cool. So we hid in there until they came out. Yeah, I accidentally hid in her locker. And she's like, how'd you get out without being hit? He says, oh, my abilities. And she says, oh yeah, forgot to mention, he's a dragon. And Ria says, what now? Could you repeat? Like, she's just dumbfounded. And he says, I'm a dragon, specifically the son of Ophis. And Great Red. And Great Red says, hello, potential mate. And Issei says, Father, I understand that dragons normally have more than one mate. But that's only if Akeno's okay with it. So don't you dare go feeding ideas. He like internally gives a death stare to Great Red. And Great Red's like, oh, I'm so scared. What are you going to do? You forget, I'm in here, you're out there. He says, oh, that can be rearranged real quick. He says, oh, whatever, it's not like you had the power to... And he stopped right there and he says, what were you saying, Father? He says, nothing. Nothing at all. He says, that's what I thought. Keep your big red mouth shut. And all the members start laughing. And Kiba, he just now arrived and he says, oh, hey, hey, Rias. Whoa. Wait. And he feels the same presence he did from the guy who, like, killed all the members of the orphanage, and he says, you're him. He says, I'm who? He says, you killed all the exorcists at that the church. He says, yeah, what about it? And he's just sitting there, just like, yeah, I did. Why? And he runs up to him and he says, thank you. As he, like, starts bowing and, like, crying, and he's just like, quit crying before I hit you in your badussy. Just kidding. He legit kicks him in the dick. And he says, ah! And he's just like, what was that for? And he says, for crying. Men don't cry. It's simple. Especially not in the presence of a dragon. Or the dragon of death, to be specific. Unless you wish for death. He says, point taken. As they all are just dumbfounded, and they all go, you were the one that technically saved him from the church. And issei just goes, yeah, I guess. As he's just like, meh, okay, yeah. Also, let's see if we can, I'm gonna have to watch that later, but, anywho. So, he's just sitting there just like, But anywho, will you just make me a member of your parage? And she says, huh? But why? He just goes, why not? I mean, I can function as a bishop. I mean, I can heal people. I can cure any disease. Because I can control any disease, because I'm the god of death, essentially. And he says, give me a second while I change into even more comfortable clothing. And he snaps his fingers, and like golden and red like flower petals like envelop this man, and he goes back to how he normally looks. And they see this, and they're like, dang, how did it get even hotter? Like, all the girls just went, wow. And in this one, I'm going to say that you can fuse pieces together, so, yeah. So, she uses, never played chess before, so I'm going to say there's 2 queens. So, yeah, if I'm wrong, don't try and correct me. I'm just going to make up a rule. So, yeah. So, essentially, she mixes a rook, 5 pawns, and a queen together to get issei. And she's like, okay, you took up 7 pieces. You took up my strongest piece, 5 of my weakest pieces, and my second strongest piece. And he says, yep. And this is only because issei allowed it to. If he didn't want to, then he could have easily taken up a solid, like, 400 different chess pieces. But he said, let's go with this. And, like, his power gets boosted immensely, automatically. And even though his power was already, like, I'm about to tear up God, he now is just, the piece de resistance. Oh my god, I think I just offended everybody in France. Kill me now. But, anywho. Issei then walks into the middle of the club room, and he says, alright, Konako, Rias, join my harem. And Konako, she's like, I wouldn't mind, but also why? And he says, because I like you. Konako doesn't seem to, Akeno doesn't seem to disagree with it. And plus, even though I love Akeno, Issei Jr. here wouldn't be satisfied. And Big Red says, and the only reason because of that is because of the dragon's strong sex drive. And yes, I found out it's okay to actually say this. A dude with over 100,000 subs legit said this, and I'm just sitting here like, Hopefully they don't flag my video when I say it. And Akeno, she's a little bit saddened hearing that she couldn't satisfy her boyfriend / husband. Because yes, he's legit claimed her. He says, don't worry, Akeno. I'll love you all equally. I'll blow all your backs out. Okay? And she like smiles, and Great Red just goes and yells, that's my boy. That came out of me. But anyway, the club room went silent as Rias just said, yes. Konako, while blushing, said yes. And he says, alright, now give me reasons why you both said yes. And Rishi goes, 1, I'm kinda jealous of Akeno. 2, everybody wants a piece of you. And Konako, she says, that's what she said. Or no, exactly what Ria said. And so, issei, he goes ahead, and he says, alright then, let the harem begin. And he says, alright, but first, what do I do as a devil? Like, I get the gist of what to do, just not entirely what to do. And so, and sorry for the long pause, y'all. But he says, or no, so they all fill him in on what a devil does, and he says, alright. Okay. Also, when's the next rating game? Because I want to demonstrate my power. And also, can we fight the strongest opponent? And Reese is just like, I can ask my brother if he wants to do a rating game. Although I doubt he will agree with it. He says, oh, I can make sure that he does. And this is where I'm going to be ending off this what if of part 1 of what if Deku, or what if Issei was the son of Great Red.